Baz, I mean, thinking about Bournemouth and you think of where Everton are right now, and you think of the teams who have, you think the last few years have been really tough for Everton, but you see teams like Bournemouth, really chasing European places. That give you a little bit of hope going forward into the new stadium. David Moyes in charge as well. That, the good times might be coming back in the future.
Good times, interesting phrase, but yeah, definitely. I think
I'll change it if you want.
No, great times would be nice. We've only lost 3 in 14 since Moyes come in, and that's from where we hadn't scored in 9 of the previous 11 before he took over. I think City was the 3rd game we hadn't scored in, but we should have. But yeah, I think with everything that's gone on, the owners and another billionaire joined this week to the board and things like that. I think they're getting all the backroom stuff in place. I think moving forward, David Moyes has shown that if you actually try to win games of football, you win some, rather than just being terrified, sitting in your own box. So I think that's been a plus. And I think if you look at Everton's squad, I think the defence plays like a Champions League stat in terms of goals conceded. It's up there with that. Midfield, middle of the table. I think the forward areas are sort of bottom 3. If you break down the numbers and stuff, we just don't score enough goals. There's no goals there, and that's going to be the big sort of thing Everton have got to sort out over the summer, David Moyes. But I think what he's done is he's he's certainly given me the confidence that he will get it right, as in he'll make Everton put Everton higher up the table and go after teams like Bournemouth and Brighton and teams like that and try to get into that next pack. It won't be done overnight, but for once, Everton will have some money to spend this summer.
Well, that's, we're looking ahead to next season, but the big thing for Everton right now is that, the final game at Goodison. It's a 12 o'clock kick-off. What are your thoughts? There was a lot of talk about when you wanted the game, what time you wanted the game. Does that work for you? Everton fans happy with that?
I think, be honest, at the moment, football fans moan whatever time the kick-off would have been, there'd always be a reason why it shouldn't be. I think the biggest thing it seemed to be from the fan base and talking to them on our show and stuff was not the Monday, anything but the Monday. Then
anything but Carragher on Monday Night Football.
No, it's the after bit, isn't it? It's the,
oh yeah, going for the bevy and all.
But I think 12 o'clock, listen, it means people who like a bevy can bevy all day. And
you're in that camp, aren't you?
And me, I don't drink. So, as long as you get me Mars bar, me cup of coffee, I'll be all right. But, no, I think, listen, it's going to be a strange day, I think. Thinking, I was just saying to somebody before we started, because it was you before we started, I was sat there at half-time on a Saturday just looking, thinking, this is my view for 2.5 more games and that's it. I'm right on the halfway. In fact, your dad was sat in front of me at the Leicester game. Great seat. Right there and just thinking, I'm not going to have this view anymore. And that was the first time it sort of hit me that's it, in 2.5 games. So that Southampton game is going to be a bit of an emotional one, I think.
I wanted to ask you, your favourite moment at Goodison Park in all the years that you've been going to watch the Blues. What's the moment that sticks out?
Funnily enough, I was asked this week. There's a couple. Trevor Steven against Bayern Munich, the 3rd goal. That knowing that, at the Gladys Street end, I was at the front.
How old are you, Baz? Sorry for asking.
53.
Okay.
So I was...
work out how old you were, yeah.
I was 11, stood at the front, and when he knocked that in and just thinking, that's it, Bayern Munich were unbelievable. His goal wasn't bad against Arsenal as a 16-year-old, seeing that one, that was quite special. But it's hard, isn't it? You go back and you end up picking about 50 moments, Andy Johnson's header against Liverpool was a good one. To make it 3-0. Not ever, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not the one I made a mistake for.
No, not your one. We'll leave you. You're all right. You're just dragging Lescott down for penalties. Yeah. Not getting them. No, listen, if I had to pick one, it will probably be Trevor Stevens that day. Although Graham Sharp's header against QPR to win the league wasn't a bad one either. So difficult.
Wayne, what's your greatest memory as a player and as a fan?
As a fan, there weren't many, to be honest. It's strange because
what year would you have started?
So Barry Orne, obviously, his goal, which kept us up, and Gareth Fowley as well. Yeah. Both times, I had a debate on should fans be on the pitch, but they have great memories. I was on the pitch after the game, and I remember I dug up a bit of grass and took it home and stuff. Yeah, they're probably the best moments, to be honest.
And as a player?
As a player, obviously my first goal in the Premier League against Arsenal. I'd have to say that was the...
You know what, a goal that doesn't get mentioned, obviously, you know, when you came back the second time, that goal you scored from the halfway, did that get goal of the season?
No.
Didn't it? No, I don't think it did.
Oh, Salah's one where he just cut in with his left foot and like a normal goal.
Normal goal.
I think he won the Puskás award and everything for it.
And he only went, no disrespect, but he only went past Cuca Martin, so it doesn't count.
No, that was because I'd been dropped actually. Then Undy come in with Joe Royal, and obviously Undy was with the 21, so they were promoting all the 21 players because he knew we weren't in. So Benny Beningame was playing ahead of me, and then Sam Allardyce was coming in after the West Ham game. So I think Sam had said to Undy to play me, so played midfield and scored a hat-trick. But that was but that was my first goal back when I re-signed for Everton at the Goodison as well to score a hat-trick. Yeah, so that was a good night as well.
Yeah, I was at that game, that Bayern Munich. I was too young to like understand how big that was. When I was at that game, the Brien game as well, just before I went to Lillishore.
You're at the Newcastle game in the quarter-final. I know you were at Liverpool then, but when Dave watched...
No, I watched that in the Chaucer in Bootle. I remember that. Yeah. I went to the semi-final at Ellen Road. Yeah, obviously wasn't a Goodison. No, but I've got... Listen, I was a fan as a kid, but even going there for Liverpool, for me, it was always the place to win. And we had, under Gerard Houllier, we did well at Goodison and Old Trafford, but it was still winning at Goodison for me. It was even better than winning at Old Trafford, you know, for me. So I'll miss Goodison. You know, memories there, going there as a kid, how you got there on the bus with your mates and games and stuff like that. But you said there's a funny feeling, but it's almost like...
It was definitely
right,
it was
right
needed.
To move, isn't it?
It was needed just for the club, everyone. Yeah. Clubs to you know, get investors into the football club and for the club to move forward. It was needed. As sad as it's going to be, obviously, going to Goodison last game, it was definitely needed. Well,
you've been in the new stadium. What's it like?
Yeah, it still needs work doing. I've been a couple of times, went on a tour, and then I went to the under-21 game. Then it's a lovely stadium, to be fair, but all inside, and it still needs a bit of work doing, which I'm sure will be done. But yeah, it's really impressive.
Did either of you, when you played for like Man U or Liverpool, did either of you hear your family in the crowd, like giving you a stick or anything?
You can't not hear the Carraghers, mate.
Yeah, we've got a good firm. No. Mine, I don't know what it was like for you, but when my family is still, when I say family, I'm talking like cousins and uncles and stuff like that. They wouldn't change, but to Liverpool from Everton. But like your dad and your brother and, you know, stuff like that, you know, but to be fair, I think if my brothers now, they're probably a little bit indifferent, you know what I mean? But I think they'd still go to the Everton game or, you know, stuff like that. But it's only really probably my dad, my mum, my dad, who were like probably Everton when I was a kid, who were proper Liverpool now, and obviously my son, but he doesn't know any different. So, yeah, all my family stayed as Everton, really. I mean, what was it like?
Yeah, mine are obviously all Everton. My dad very rarely went to the United games. Whatever, yeah, so just big Evertonian, Jerry. I always remember I scored at Ellen Road. I might have been 17 then. We won 1-0. I think it was the first time we won there for like 50 years. And there's a picture where the fans have come onto the pitch. And obviously I didn't know what it was. And then I just looked back on the picture, told my mates, my cousins, all on the pitch and that. So, yeah, but all my family are all... That was the one thing I was worried about when I re-signed for Everton, was they're all going to be... At United, no one was on to me for tickets. And all. It was fine, it was easy. When I went back to Everton, it was constant. Could you get me tickets?
So what was the reception like? Remember when you... was it 06, 07 when we won the league? And was it that one where you kissed the badge, or was that 08?
Yeah, no, that was...
You had a bit of stick from him. And...
06, 07, yeah. Yeah, it was tough because at the end of the day, you're a human being as well, and you have emotions, and I love Everton, still do. And then the fans were on me, which I get from a certain point of view, and but then they, like, at me it's fine, but then you start going into your parents and your wife and whatever, and it gets too much, and that's why I've reacted that way, to be honest. Looking back, I shouldn't have, but yeah, it's just a reaction, so I got a little bit of stick for that as well.